Yo, what's going on YouTube? Nassif here from Click, and today we're back on Gran Turismo 7 on the PS5, and I'm doing this one as like a tutorial video. We're going to be doing the Group 1 prototype series race around Suzuka. Now this is 10 laps with the possibility of rain, tire degradation, as well as fuel usage. So we're going to hop on in and take a look and see sort of how I get this race done. Now, again, as per usual, this is by no means the fastest way to jump in and be the fastest possible around this circuit. This is just a really concrete way to win this endurance race in particular, as well as winning other endurance races as well. Now, in terms of car selection, we do have the Toyota Gr.1 hybrid on racing mediums. Now, this car is really good on gas usage or I guess fuel economy. So I run all of my endurance races using fuel trim 6. I feel like using anything less than that is just a waste of fuel. So we'll jump in here. We're going to check the weather map. Now, I don't know if this feature actually works on Gran Turismo because I sat here waiting for, I don't know, however many seconds it took for this thing to load and didn't see anything come up. So I'm not sure if this feature works, but usually what I like to do is check to see if there is any upcoming rain so I know if I need to change to the wet tires at the start of the race. Looks clear, so we are going to jump in and start this race on the mediums. Now, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to flick through my telemetry stuff. Now I did start the race on traction control set to 1, and I flipped my brake bias as well as my fuel trims basically all the way to the right, and that'll help to minimize your fuel usage, also minimize the braking on the front tires, which will help to extend the life of the tires, which is key for this race. And so you'll see here that just throughout the race, the main thing that I was trying to do is to minimize the amount of tire noise and tire squeal coming off the car. In general, these cars are very fast. Obviously, they're Group 1 racers, they're prototype race cars, so you do need to drive them with a serious level of respect. They do have a ton of grip, ton of downforce until they don't, and then you'll find yourself spinning out and facing the wrong way on the circuit. So let the first lap play out here. We are not really, again, this is not a race of how fast you can get around this course. This is a matter of how smart you are with your fuel, your tires, and just in general picking and choosing your spots to overtake. Because as we all know, the AI in Gran Turismo, especially the non-Sophie AI, basically races as if you're not there. So they can and will take you out if you pass them in the wrong spot, or if you get a little aggressive with them, they will just punt you off and send you on your way. So what I was doing for the first lap, really just settling into a groove here, trying to make sure that I'm getting my lines right and not overdriving the car. I found the fastest way to get the car around this track, or the best way I should say to get the car around the track, is to underdrive it. There's no need to fly around at full speed and try and set a lap record every time you go around the track. Just sort of set a steady lap time, something that you're comfortable with, and a fast pace that is not, again, breaking lap records, just enough for you to get around the track in a reasonable amount of time. So as you can see, our first lap doesn't really count. We settle in at a 147. Just checking the radar there on the bottom right, the weather radar. I've been keeping my eye on that to see if there is any rain coming, but so far it looks pretty clear, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Also looking at the fuel usage, we're on par for about 10% a lap, which is about perfect for what we need. A few tricks and tips, I guess, for driving to save fuel. Short shift, there's no need to rev the car right the way to our red line and rev the engine all the way out. You're just burning fuel that way. And plus, a lot of these cars, their main power band or most of their torque band or whatever is sort of just below the red line. So best thing to do is to short shift. I was doing that the entire race. I make it a habit of mine, especially when doing endurance races, to just short shift in general. Because like I said, this isn't a sprint race, this is an endurance, and it's a matter of how long you can keep that car on track without having to go into the pits. Okay, so fast forward a little bit here and bring ourselves to the end of this second lap. As you can see, dive bombing in onto the chicane, saw space there, so I decided to take it. And on the exit of the chicane, again, as you can see, we're kind of going onto the straight here at 4th gear. I highly recommend upshifting earlier. If you put too much power down or you throttle out too quickly on that chicane exit, or S-bend exit, I get my corner names wrong. But if you go out onto that main straight with the wrong gear, you will spin the car sideways. So my recommendation in general, again, is to underdrive this car as much as you can and really just focus on maintaining your pace and maintaining smooth lap times. And so again, as you can see here, we are upshifting 3rd to 4th. Again, very crucial to not overdrive the car and we do set our fastest lap of the race here, which is a 1:48.6. Now, in terms of lap times, I think on average you're probably going to want to be averaging around a 1:50, 1:52 at the slowest as we go off there on the first corner. Main thing is you, again, we're not really going, I know you could probably get this car around in a 1:45 or less, but the thing is that you're going to do that at the cost of your fuel as well as your tires. So the smart thing, again, in endurance races is to play the long game. So this is exactly what we're going to try and do here. Now we're coming up to these corners here. These two corners here are where you're going to make up the most time, and the upcoming corner against the AI here, because they take these two corners really slow. You don't have to brake near as hard as they're braking. You can take a lot of curb and still be within track limits. And at the end here, this sort of a U-turn here, I guess this would be the chicane, slowing right the way down to first gear, and then coming out in second is the best way to do it. And again, upshifting to third and fourth quickly so that you're not spinning the tires, and you're just kind of smoothly accelerating out. This was an interesting one here. The AI, again, I dive bombed in and they kind of didn't have it. They drove on and we kind of had a little bit of contact. But thankfully both of us survived that and didn't end up with any damage. I don't think there is damage in this race, but it is what it is. Now, glancing over there, I don't know if you saw previously in the weather radar, just in the bottom right-hand corner, at around 100 kilometers out on the radar, we can see that there is some rain coming our way. So just going to keep the radar zoomed in a little bit just to see what's relevant to our track racing, because as you'll see in this in this event, the rain doesn't actually impact the track itself. There is a ton of rain around us, but just didn't end up hitting the track. So let's fast forward a bit and see what happens. Here we got the last corner of the track, and as you can see here, just getting a little bit too aggressive on the throttle, spinning the car, thankfully catching the barrier in such a way that it kept me facing the right way, so didn't end up losing too much time there. But again, just another example of making sure you're not overdriving the car, because that will definitely make you slower, and again, like I said, will eat up your tires. Now if you look at the tires there, we're 6 laps in and we're about, I don't know, I'd say about 50% on the tires, so it looks like we're pretty much perfect for this race. We're going to be able to finish this race on the one set, assuming that we're not going to get any rain, which again in this case we didn't, which I found odd because I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be like a heavy rain race, but it is what it is. On the top left there, you can see we're about 1 second ahead of the leader, so we'll sort of just let this play out and we'll see what happens from here. So just get across the line there in a 1:50.7 on our 7th lap. Just taking a peek back there to see if the AI is going to be pitting or not, but it doesn't seem to be the case for this lap. But as you can see on the top left, we are 4.5 seconds ahead now. So again, as you can see on the right here, our lap times are 1, not consistent, and 2, not very fast. So you don't have to drive very quickly to win these races. It's a matter of consistency and also not spinning out. And as we're finishing up the 7th lap here, you can see on the weather radar that we do have a big cloud of weather or rain that's coming in, but none of it seems to be too crazy. It's all light blue. In the radar there, you can see sort of light blue is the bottom of the range there. So as you start to get into the green, yellow, purple, and orange, that's when the rain starts to get really heavy and really nasty. But based on what we're looking at here, it doesn't look like we're going to need to pit for wet tires, because the racing's tires are sufficient in the wet, just as long as the meter down in the bottom left there, so next to the tires to the left of them, that's a wetness meter or whatever, precipitation meter on the track, so that'll tell you exactly how much the wet track is impacting your grip. You can see there that there's like a 25%, 75%. Once the blue bar goes above 25%, that's sort of when the track conditions will impact your driving. So you'll have to lengthen your braking distances and be just more careful on throttle. Once it gets into the next sort of bar up, you're hydroplaning. So you'll see that the color will go from light blue to dark blue. At that point, you have no grip at all. So just kind of keep an eye on that. As long as the bar is below the first dash in that meter there, you should be fine to stay on the racing tires. Just be a little bit careful as it starts to approach that first dash, and then once it does get into the first dash, you want to just take a look at the weather radar, take a look to see if it's going to continue raining, or if the track's going to dry up I should say, and then make a decision there if you're going to change your tires or not. So coming up here, fast forwarding a little bit and having a bit of a moment here again on the last corner. just about keeping it safe and keeping it on track. At this point now, you can see the gap here is about 8 seconds to the guy behind me, so my mentality here now is just baby the car home. Thankfully they pitted because they are on medium tires as well, but it looks like that their fuel trims were not right for this race in particular, so they ended up burning more fuel than they needed. And as you can see there, another person falling into the pits and needing to go and gas up. So again, it's really a matter of maintaining your speed in terms of your pace. As you can see, my lap time averages here are actually slower than a 150, so it'd probably be best to do, you know, around a 150, but clearly you can get away with doing a 152, 153. You can also get away with a couple of mistakes, as well as just in general imperfect driving is what I should say. And just jumping ahead here to the last lap of the race, as you can see on the bottom left there, our tires are pretty much worn out. So as you can see, they're spinning out just a little bit, but again, keeping it facing the right way, which is great. But I think on those tires at this point in time, if we had more laps to go, I'd probably be pitting at this point to fuel up, get some new tires, and just make a judgment call on if we're going to change onto the wets. But in this case, it is our last lap, so just going to baby the car home. And again, as you can see on the right there, our lap time average is probably looking more like a 151, 152. So if you're able to maintain that lap time throughout the race, you should have absolutely no problem winning the Group 1 prototype race around Suzuka. And all this technique and sort of all the tips and tricks I'm giving for this particular race can be translated and moved over, transferred over to other endurance races, which you'll probably see on the channel at some point down the line. But that's going to be pretty much it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you had any questions or anything for this race in particular, as you can see, they were finishing about 30 seconds ahead of the next closest opponent. But if you had any questions, feel free to reach out down below, and I'll definitely get back to you. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.